A spoonful of drippings in a cast iron pan can smell like Sunday dinner, but that does not mean every old fat deserves a halo. Welcome to HappyMind Nutrition, where we rediscover the simple, time-tested way our families used to eat. Today we are looking honestly at lard, butter, tallow, drippings, and olive oil without turning tradition into hype. We will talk about why old kitchens used these fats, how to enjoy them thoughtfully, and why the old way was practical, not perfect. This is general educational and traditional food information, not medical advice. Enjoy these foods as part of a balanced diet and talk with a qualified professional if you have personal concerns. Lard had a place in many traditional kitchens because it was available, useful, and economical. If a family raised or bought pork, saving the fat was part of respecting the whole animal. It made flaky pastry, fried potatoes, biscuits, beans, greens, and skillet meals taste familiar and satisfying. The old reason was not usually a modern nutrition argument. It was thrift, flavor, and function. To use that lesson today, think of lard as an occasional cooking fat with a clear purpose, not something that needs to appear in every meal. A small amount can carry flavor a long way. The caveat is that quality, overall diet, and personal health needs matter, so it is wise to avoid sweeping claims that lard is automatically better for everyone. It also helps to remember that old cooks often used fat to make inexpensive foods enjoyable. A bean pot, cabbage, cornmeal, or potatoes could feed more people when a little rich flavor made the dish satisfying. Butter is deeply nostalgic because it lived on the table, on bread, potatoes, corn, pancakes, porridge, and vegetables. Families have long enjoyed it for taste, texture, and a sense of comfort. In many homes, butter was not unlimited. It was churned, bought carefully, or saved for specific foods. That is the part worth remembering. Butter can be appreciated as a real food with a strong flavor, used with attention. Start by using it where you notice it most, like on warm bread or vegetables, instead of hiding large amounts in everything. The caveat is that butter is rich, and different people have different nutrition needs. It is not a magic food, and it is not automatically the right choice for every meal. It can also make leftovers feel intentional, because yesterday's roast gives tomorrow's vegetables a little depth. Tallow and drippings tell the story of thrift. A roast came out of the oven, the fat was saved, and the next meal tasted like the last one in the best possible way. Potatoes cooked in drippings, greens finished with pan juices, or soup started with a spoonful of saved fat were ways to avoid waste and keep flavor moving through the week. Today, the lesson is not to pour fat over everything. The lesson is to use flavorful ingredients intentionally. If you save drippings, keep them safely, label them, and use small amounts to season simple foods. The caveat is food safety and balance. Old kitchens used what they had, but modern cooks should store cooked fats properly and keep vegetables, grains, beans, and other whole foods on the plate. One belief worth slowing down is the idea that natural fats are always healthier simply because they are old. Traditional does not automatically mean ideal, and modern does not automatically mean bad. Many old diets were shaped by labor, scarcity, seasons, and limited choices. People used lard, butter, and drippings because they were available and made food satisfying. That history is real, but it does not prove that more is always better. A grounded approach is to ask, what does this fat do in the meal, and how much do I need to enjoy it? The caveat is that nutrition is personal and complex. If you have specific concerns about cholesterol, heart health, digestion, or diet, a qualified professional can help you make choices that fit you. The more honest question is not whether a fat is old or new, but whether your everyday pattern feels balanced, enjoyable, and appropriate for your own life. When people talk about old-fashioned fats, they sometimes forget olive oil, which has a long traditional place in Mediterranean kitchens. Families have long used it on vegetables, beans, fish, bread, soups, and salads. It shows that there was never just one old way. Some regions leaned on animal fats, others on olives, nuts, seeds, dairy, or mixed traditions depending on climate and culture. To bring this into your kitchen, keep olive oil as a simple everyday option for vegetables, dressings, and bean dishes, while using butter or drippings where their flavor truly belongs. The caveat is that olive oil is still a fat and should be used thoughtfully, not poured without attention just because it sounds wholesome. The most forgotten part of traditional cooking is often the rest of the plate. A little butter on cabbage, a spoonful of drippings with beans, or olive oil over greens tastes different when the meal is built around vegetables, roots, grains, legumes, and simple proteins. Old kitchens often use strong flavors to make humble foods satisfying. That is a better lesson than arguing over one perfect fat. To start today, cook a pot of greens, roast carrots and potatoes, or make beans, then use a small amount of your chosen fat to carry flavor. The caveat is that balance looks different in different homes. The goal is not fear of fat and not worship of fat, but thoughtful cooking. This is where the old kitchen can teach restraint without fear. A spoonful with a whole pot of vegetables is very different from building every plate around richness first. Let flavor support the meal, instead of taking over the plate completely. That cast iron smell can be beautiful, but it should not trick us into thinking the past had every answer. Lard, butter, tallow, drippings, and olive oil all have traditional stories. They can make simple foods taste comforting, especially when used with a light hand and surrounded by vegetables, beans, grains, and other whole foods. The old way was practical, flavorful, and thrifty, but not perfect. This is general educational and traditional food information, not medical advice, and personal nutrition questions deserve a qualified professional's guidance. Subscribe to HappyMind Nutrition for warm food tradition without the internet shouting match. Good food was never meant to be complicated, so keep it simple, keep it warm, and enjoy it the way families always have.